Happy Thanksgiving and welcome back to Josh and Kristie Stealing the Internet. I'm Kristie.
And I'm Josh. Load up that plate and get ready for a heaping helping of Reddit drama.
Am I the asshole for not eating a Thanksgiving dish I suspect was made last year?
Like it was leftovers from last Thanksgiving? 'Cause no, I don't think a lot of food lasts a year. That seems kind of gross.
I'm so baffled about this situation, I need a non-biased perspective. My husband and I, 30-ish, have a quite large family. His parents, his two siblings, plus spouses and kids. My divorced parents and their new spouses, plus my siblings and their spouses and kids. Altogether, we are well over 20 people, so family gatherings can be overwhelming for the person hosting. And yes, my divorced parents and their new spouses get along fine and there's no drama. Last night we celebrated Thanksgiving, and as a family tradition, everyone brings a dish. Usually we communicate with each other so that way everyone is making different types of food. My sister-in-law, wife of my brother, said that she was going to bring her mom's famous sweet potato casserole. I thought it was very nice of her since her mom passed away this year and she was honoring her memory by making her recipe. However, once I saw her dish, I truly think she brought last year's leftovers.
Was it like super freezer burned? How do you identify last year's leftovers?
Instead of a big pan, she brought several small and medium containers of sweet potato casserole. Although it did not smell weird, it was very dry and just didn't look like a regular one.
Is she just a bad cook? Although small and medium containers is weird.
I didn't try it and discreetly told my husband my concerns, who also did not try it. Once Thanksgiving was over, my mother called me saying that my sister-in-law was upset because she noticed I didn't try her dish. I told my mother about my fears and she said that I'm just too picky with food and there's no way a frozen casserole could last a year without having mold.
Sorry, what? Like, frozen things don't grow mold.
Yeah, I didn't get that either. Like, if you left it in the fridge for a year, yeah, it's going to grow mold. But I assume if you're trying to keep it for a year, you freeze it and then it wouldn't.
Yeah, and Mother specifically said frozen food would grow mold, which is not how freezing things work. You need a better freezer.
I pointed out that the several containers could mean that she cut the good parts and left the moldy ones. After an awkward silence, we decided to agree to disagree and hang up.
Okay, I feel like you don't have any evidence other than she weirdly brought in a bunch of containers. Like, could she have just been cutting good parts out of, like, several poorly cooked casserole dishes?
I mean, it's a possibility. It's just weird that it came in several containers instead of one casserole dish, and then it was, like, weird and dry.
Yeah. Is sister-in-law just a bad cook? I don't know. I guess we'll find out.
I feel bad for my sister-in-law, but I truly could not bring myself to eat something I am not 100% sure is safe. So, am I the asshole? There is an update, but what do you think? Would you eat that casserole?
I mean, all of your suspicion so far is just based off of the fact that she didn't do good plating. She walked in with a bunch of individual Tupperwares and the food looked dry. I feel like if I saw some dry food that was packaged weird, my first instinct would not be, this is last year's food.
Yeah, it does seem a little bit like she's just jumping to conclusions to me. But I do want to say that if someone brought something that I thought was sketchy, not even that I thought it was like a year old, just that looks a little bit weird and dry, I might not try it. And like, you don't have to try everything at Thanksgiving dinner. It's okay to skip some things.
Oh, that's kind of the point of Thanksgiving, is that there's a bunch of different dishes and there's something for everyone. Yeah, skip over the kind of weird casserole that's in pieces already.
I mean, I pretty much skip over most things and just load up on mashed potatoes.
Was sister-in-law insulted because not only did you not eat it, but nobody else ate it because she just put this sketchy as hell dish on the table? Have we gotten any sort of review from somebody that actually took a bite of the dish?
Well, on to the update.
Okay.
After spending my whole morning reading and answering your comments, I decided to pass by my mother's house and have an in-person talk with her. I read her some of the comments on the original post, and she thinks the internet is a strange place.
True.
We agreed I can always come and tell her what I think truthfully. She has not talked to anyone else in the family about the yam debacle. We decided to call my brother and ask if we can go to his house and have a talk with him and my sister-in-law. He said to brace ourselves and come with an open mind. That makes me worried.
That's a terrifying statement. Oh my God, the sweet potato casserole is people.
When we got there, my sister-in-law started crying uncontrollably, and my brother took us to the kitchen, which was a mess. Long story short, they were indeed leftovers, just not a year old. I guess sometime before her passing, sister-in-law and her mom had made several family recipes as a bonding experience. The casserole was one of the staple recipes, and my sister-in-law had frozen several containers of it. On Thanksgiving week, she thawed some of it and tried to replicate the taste without luck. I guess the pressure of making it for us got the better of her, and she got more and more frustrated as the date approached. On Thursday, she finally gave up and decided to just reheat the ones she had frozen.
Okay, so it was frozen food, just not a year old.
Yes.
That's good, at least.
I just want to know, how she doesn't have her mom's recipe.
Yeah, it kind of sounds like she never learned how to make the casserole.
She made it with her mom, but now she's trying to recreate it and get the taste right and can't do it. I was like, how does she not have the recipe? I'm so confused.
She made it with her mom. In other words, she hung around while mom made the casserole. But it also kind of sounds like they don't know how to freeze food properly. Because it shouldn't be that dry if you freeze it.
Yeah.
Unless it's been in the freezer for a really long time and it got freezer burned. But then you taste freezer burn. It doesn't taste dry. Although it sounds like nobody tasted it, so I don't know.
They just looked at it and said, that looks weirdly dry. I'm not trying it.
Yeah.
As to why my sister-in-law noticed that I didn't eat her dish, apparently in prior years I've complimented the casserole as, this is one of the best ones I've ever tried. So this year she was expecting some comment and was sad when I didn't even try it.
This was one of the best ones I've ever tried could be a backhanded compliment. Sweet potato casseroles are usually garbage, but this is one of the best pieces of garbage I've ever eaten.
I apologized and told her I was really sorry that I hurt her feelings. She apologized for singling me out. We told her to rest, and in the meantime, me, my mother, and brother cleaned the kitchen, tidied the house, and my mom made her a soup. My mom decided to stay, but I left a bit after everything was done and everyone was calm. As a goodwill gesture, I'm getting my sister-in-law a mini spa day that I think she will enjoy and help her feel better. So that's pretty much it. No big fight, no big dramatic scene. Sorry, not sorry.
Yeah, you're leading us off with one that has a wholesome family outcome.
Apparently, I'm sorry. We need more drama.
Yeah. Nobody comes to the Thanksgiving expecting happiness.
Lastly, does my mother think frozen food can get moldy?
Oh, that is a good point. I forgot about that, and I'm very curious.
She claims she said it in the heat of the moment and because I was annoying her. She knows cooking is not my forte, so she thought I had no good comeback to that. I opened her freezer and there's only meat and ice cream, so who knows at this point?
Okay.
Top comment, NTA. Let's say for argument's sake that the casserole was made yesterday. On Thanksgiving, if you just decided you didn't want sweet potato casserole, you'd still be in this situation and you'd still be justified in not eating it. Either way, the person who made the dish should not be closely monitoring who took some. That's very strange. Eat what you want to eat at these types of gatherings.
The person who made the dish should not be closely monitoring who eats it, but we've all been there where we're like, is anyone eating my casserole or whatever I brought? I sure hope people like it. I put in a lot of work. It does sound like sister-in-law put in a lot of work, even if it ended in failure.
Yeah, she kept trying to recreate this recipe and couldn't do it.
Yeah, she tried and failed to recreate it. And then she cared enough about the family that she took her mother's final casseroles out of the freezer, reheated them, and presented them on the Thanksgiving table. Maybe she was a little invested in people eating these.
Yeah, this is the last thing her mother cooked, and she's giving it to other people, and they did not appreciate that.
Yeah, because you complimented it one year, so she wanted you to have it. So I can understand her kind of making sure you got a piece, and then when you didn't, I would be distraught too.
Someone else says, you're NTA for not eating something. No one can force you to do that. But you're kind of rude for spreading rumors based off of weird assumptions. 1, frozen food doesn't get moldy. It's preserved as long as it's frozen. Once it's defrosted, normal food safety rules apply. 2, you have no idea if it was leftovers. Even if it was, there's nothing wrong with leftovers. Isn't this weird American holiday all about leftovers?
Yeah, but they're not leftovers till tomorrow.
I don't know. I feel like a lot of people eat the big Thanksgiving meal mid-afternoon, and then later in the evening they go back for leftovers.
Okay, that's true. They're not leftovers until after the big meal. The second people leave that table to go watch football, though, I guess they are leftovers.
So, yeah, Reddit pretty much thanks NTA for not eating it, but a little bit YTA for telling other people not to eat it.
Am I the asshole for being a picky eater at friendsgiving?
Ooh, I'm really hoping not the asshole because I am also a picky eater and don't eat a lot of things at Thanksgiving.
I, 26 female, joined a group of friends I met in grad school. We range anywhere from 23 to 30, and we're a mix of men and women. I was bullied out of my old friend group, so I started hanging out with the current group since February. They have all been friends longer than I have, so I'm like the new addition. For the last couple of years, they do Friendsgiving, which is usually a week or two before Thanksgiving, and we all bring a drink or dish to someone's house. This year, a girl, Lisa, said she would host since her and her fiance just moved into a big condo. We were all assigned to bring something, but it didn't have to be Thanksgiving themed. Any food would do, which defeats the purpose of Thanksgiving, but whatever, I'm not the hostess. Now, I've always been a picky eater. I don't have allergies or anything, but I know what I like, and I'm not interested in trying new foods. That may offend some people, but that's just who I am. We had a Google Doc for who was bringing what, and I quickly realized I wouldn't be able to eat anything except bread rolls and apple pie. And I was bringing the pie.
That sounds like my Thanksgiving when I was a kid. That's all I really ate was rolls, mashed potatoes, and pie.
That's a lot of kids' Thanksgiving dinner. There was a lot of foreign food, since most of the friend group comes from diverse backgrounds. Some examples are Lisa is Chinese, so she was going to make Chinese barbecue pork and steam a whole fish. Another person's family is Lebanese, so they were going to bring hummus, parsley salad, etc. I googled the foods I didn't know, and none of that sounded appetizing to me. So I texted Lisa and asked her if she could provide something for me to eat, so I didn't starve. She asked me what I was thinking, so I provided her with some options, such as pizza, burgers, spaghetti with meat sauce, etc. So she said she would. So I go to Friendsgiving and everyone starts to help themselves, and Lisa brings me out a pizza. I asked her where my other options were, and
I'm sorry, I'm just, what? I do not like this person. You're being a picky eater is not everybody else's problem.
No, but where are the other options, Kristie?
Okay, continue.
And she says there are no other options. I said I liked pizza, so she got me a pizza. I felt this was unfair because everyone else had a variety to choose from, and I was essentially being forced to eat one thing. We got into an argument. I told her when I gave her a list of options, I expected her to have a few different ones for me, like a good hostess would do. She said no. Why should she provide a bunch of food? I never said a bunch, for just one person.
You didn't say a bunch, but you said a diversity of, you implied a bunch. You want options. That's a bunch.
No one stood up for me, and a couple people even sided with Lisa, saying I was acting spoiled. I ended up in tears and left early without eating anything. Lisa wouldn't even give me back the pie I brought, which was unnecessarily mean. This is my pie now.
Yeah.
That was a couple weeks ago, and everyone is ignoring me. Granted, it's nearing the end of the semester, so we've all been busy. I'm starting to feel that there was a miscommunication between Lisa and I, but I wanted to see if anyone would side with me. My friends are aware I only like a few foods, and I feel like I'm being bullied for my tastes. I'm super anxious and upset and can't focus on my finals. So, Reddit, am I the asshole?
Yes, 100% the asshole. Okay, this is a potluck. Everybody is bringing one dish, including the host. Why is the host suddenly responsible for providing like 5 different dishes for you?
Yeah, in a potluck scenario, the host is not sort of responsible for providing food that the guests will like. All the guests are responsible for providing food the guests will like. You can just bring your own main dish.
Yes, as someone who is an extremely picky eater, if I'm going somewhere and I know there are not going to be a lot of food options that I would like to eat, I eat beforehand or bring my own food. My food pickiness is not anyone else's problem. It's on me to take care of it and make sure that I have food options that I am able to eat with my pickiness.
I actually think Lisa was very nice to get the pizza.
Yes, that's what I was thinking. I was like, why is it suddenly Lisa's responsibility to make sure that there's food there that you like? I mean, I get that she is hosting, but that is already an extra responsibility she's taking. She doesn't need to be worrying about making sure there's food that everybody likes when this is a potluck and everybody is responsible for bringing food.
Personally, I would be thrilled if I went to a Thanksgiving dinner and there was like barbecued pork and hummus and things. Like, that sounds like a good variety of food.
Yeah, I don't like flavor, so I probably would not have liked that.
You ate hummus.
I don't like it.
Oh.
It's edible if I am starving, but it is not something I would ever pick to eat. If there was rolls and pie, I would probably just eat the rolls and pie.
Nothing wrong with eating pie for Thanksgiving dinner, in my opinion. It's Thanksgiving. Just eat what you want on Thanksgiving.
So I feel like OP is being way too entitled about expecting other people to supply a meal for her. All she brought was a pie. Everybody else is bringing dishes. If she doesn't like any of them, that's on her, and she needs to find options for herself to eat. She should have brought her own pizza or other options if she wanted more options. And I think that it was very nice of the hostess to be that accommodating and provide a pizza for her.
So there is a quick edit, and then there is an update. Edit. I'm the asshole. I sent Lisa a text asking to talk, and she hasn't responded. I also texted another girl in the group who said they're having a post-finals New Year's party, and I'm not invited. So there's that.
She kind of had it coming. She's a very ungrateful guest.
And then to the update, Lisa texted me back saying she was sorry about the pie, but she's not sorry for Friendsgiving as a whole. I asked her about the New Year's Eve party, and she said her and the group think it would be best if I didn't come because of how I acted. I can't say I blame them, but I'm heartbroken.
So it sounds like Reddit people probably ripped her a new one in the comments and she realizes she's the asshole. I am glad she's realized the error of her ways.
Yes, it's good that she has enough self-awareness to learn from the comments. It's a little unfortunate that you lost your friend group after one bad evening. Sounds like you were very bad, though.
Yeah.
So I'm sorry. Hopefully you do better with the next friend group. But it is awfully rough to get kicked out.
But I feel like she just kept doubling down. Like, the hostess brought out the pizza and she was like, where's my other food? And the hostess was like, there is no other food. And she's like, but I gave you options to get me. And she just kept doubling down. It's like, be polite. At some point, you got to realize it's rude and that you just need to be polite and shut up.
I don't think I would have even been willing to ask for the pizza in the first place.
I don't think I would have either, but since she did.
Yeah.
But she kept taking it further and further.
I might have been willing to like show up with a couple pizzas, and been like, hey, I'm kind of picky, so I just got myself a safety pizza.
And I brought some extra to share with you guys.
Yep.
If you guys want a slice of pizza too.
Yeah.
That would have been the polite thing to do.
It does not take long to stop off at like a fast food restaurant and buy a couple pizzas. And it's like 2 weeks before Thanksgiving anyway, so it's not like they're closed. Top comment. Now, I'm a picky eater. I'm working on getting better about it, but I'm always so anxious that I'm being annoying to my friends, to waitstaff, etc. But posts like these remind me I'm not nearly as bad as I could be.
Yeah, I'm always super concerned about being an inconvenience with my picky eating too. And then I'm like, there's people like this that make me feel better about myself though.
I guess that's the whole point of this show. Maybe it's just me. I feel like I don't want pizza and spaghetti in the same meal.
Yeah, those don't go together, which is weird because they both got red sauce. You think they'd be this, like, go together, right? No.
Yeah, they're both like Italian dishes. For some reason, if you put pizza and spaghetti on the same plate, I'm going to look at you like you're crazy. Maybe it's just too many carbs. I don't know what it is. They're just too similar, but not the same.
Yeah, it's like they're too similar, but also they don't go together.
Yeah, they're similar, but very different. And I don't like those on the same plate. I've just realized. Also, notice that everyone else seemed to be bringing multiple dishes, and OP only brought the pie. It's apparently not strange to bring more than one thing, so why didn't they just write pie plus some main dish they enjoyed? Which is similar to what we said, just bring a safety pizza. In most friend groups, there's nothing wrong with turning up at a dinner with a safety pizza and just apologizing for being a picky eater. If they like you, they're going to be like, yeah, that's okay. Maybe try a bite of my barbecued pork and then I won't be insulted.
Yeah, I feel like showing up with more food is never a bad thing.
Especially at a potluck, right?
Am I the asshole for telling my sister she's not allowed to bring her homemade food to Thanksgiving because her cooking is ruining the meal?
As in, she's just a very bad cook? Or because she gets a little wild with her cooking? Either way, I feel like the polite thing is just not to eat it.
Every year, our family does a big Thanksgiving dinner, and we all typically bring a dish or two. My sister, who's a lovely person in every other way, insists on cooking something homemade every time. The issue? She's not a great cook. And I don't mean just not great. I mean, she has somehow managed to turn classic dishes into borderline inedible creations.
Like, is it burned to the point where you just have to identify it as carbon?
For context, last Thanksgiving she showed up with her special recipe stuffing that was over-seasoned with random spices like cinnamon and cardamom. It was dry and the flavors were confusing and totally off for stuffing. Only one person took a small bite and the rest went untouched.
That seems a little rude, but also it sounds awful.
Another year, she brought a green bean casserole that had some kind of strange, chewy texture. She later admitted she used coconut milk and almond flour to experiment. No one wanted seconds of that either.
To experiment?
Thanksgiving is not the time to experiment.
I'm sorry. This is the big show. This is where you bring the best dish you have that you've, worked on. Like, you don't go to the big game with your warm-up dish.
This year, I'm hosting Thanksgiving. Since I'm responsible for putting it all together, I wanted to keep the menu consistent so that people could actually enjoy a cohesive meal. I thought I'd avoid drama by asking her to bring non-food items instead, like wine, soda, or even some flowers.
Okay, that's just an open insult if you ask somebody to bring soda when they bring cooked dishes usually.
Yes, it is very insulting.
Yeah, like maybe you should just bring the paper cups this year.
Because we don't trust you to cook food, which they don't, but don't tell her that.
Yeah.
I explained to her, very kindly I thought, that I just wanted to make things easy and streamlined and I'd handle the main dishes. But she didn't take it well. She got offended and told me I was being controlling and shutting her out of the family gathering. She then accused me of making her feel inadequate and said that Thanksgiving is about everyone contributing, not me deciding what's acceptable. I told her that everyone appreciates her effort, but that she could contribute in other ways and still be part of it. She doubled down and said she's bringing her famous green bean casserole, whether I like it or not.
I mean, who cares if there's a bad side dish on the table? I don't know why you're making a big deal out of this, even if she is a bad cook.
I don't get it either. Just let her bring it and no one eats it and it's okay.
It sounds like she wasn't that insulted that no one was eating it. Or at least not enough that she complains about it out loud.
Now my mom and a couple of other family members have chimed in saying I should just let her bring whatever she wants because it's Thanksgiving and it's the thought that counts. They're acting like I'm committing some huge offense by wanting the food to be enjoyable for everyone and not have random experimental dishes that no one will eat. But I feel like I'm just trying to keep the meal enjoyable and, frankly, edible. I don't think it's wrong to want guests to actually enjoy the food, especially since I'm putting in a lot of effort to host. Am I really being unreasonable here? Am I the asshole? There are a few updates, but first, what do you think?
I'm sorry, there's a few updates?
Yes.
Okay.
There is drama, Josh. The drama. But tell me what you think.
At this point in the story, I would say you're kind of being the asshole. You're being very controlling over the family gathering. I know you're the host. I know you want it to be like enjoyable for everyone, but maybe you should just go in with the mindset that all of your food is going to look so good in comparison to this chewy green bean casserole. Like, I've been at plenty of family gatherings where I just don't like this dish. The person that brings it likes it, so they take their bites, and I just don't take a bite of that because there's lots of other food to put on my plate. It's not that deep.
Top comment. How does your sister react when no one eats her food? If she reacts poorly, tries to push people to try or have seconds, and is generally a sourpuss about it, then I think suggesting she take control of wines/chips/non-baked goods is sensible. But if she doesn't comment or make a big deal, then it really doesn't sound like her cooking badly does any harm. No one eats it, she feels like she contributed, and all it takes is throwing away the food at the end. Minimal hassle for a peaceful holiday that everyone enjoys.
That is a very good question. It depends a lot on sister's attitude.
Someone else says, just let her bring the green bean casserole and make an actually edible one as a backup. It's not worth it to die on this hill.
I am of the strong opinion that green bean casserole just doesn't even need to be at Thanksgiving. Everyone else seems to like it, though.
Someone else comments, it's one dish that everyone knows is bad and won't eat. Why is it a big deal? And OP responds, I get where you're coming from, but it's not just one dish. It's every year, and every year she brings multiple dishes with strange combinations that no one eats. And it ends up feeling awkward because she keeps pushing people to try her food, and you're stuck pretending it's not that bad or trying to avoid it altogether.
Okay, so she is pushing people.
She is pushing people. So yeah, I kind of get being like, dude, I don't want you to bring food and be pushing it on people, and it's gross.
Although you're all kind of being an asshole by pretending to like the food or whatever, just trying to be polite about it instead of being like, I'm sorry, it's just not for me. Like, you can politely say your food is nasty.
Someone says, I'm super curious what other things she's made. If you're willing to expand on a few more, I want to know how bad we're talking here. OP responds, buckle up because here's a list.
Oh, okay.
A spicy cranberry sauce that had whole chunks of jalapeno in it. She insisted it was elevating the flavor profile, but it ended up making people's mouths burn while eating turkey.
Okay, I gotta say, a few of her flavor combos, they sound okay in theory. Like, if you told me this was cranberry jalapeno, I'm a little intrigued to see how you got those flavors to meld. That could be delicious. It sounds like she did not succeed, though, right? Like, earlier, you're like, she put cinnamon and cardamom in the stuffing, and I'm immediately like, huh, I wonder how you make that work. That sounds interesting. I'd like a bite. And then, no, it didn't work. So I guess I'm too much of an optimist for this story.
Here's some more. A fusion mac and cheese with wasabi and horseradish. There were some coughs and watery eyes at the table that night.
So she likes spicy food?
A carrot salad that had shredded carrots, raisins, and sardines.
Okay, I can't get behind that one.
She said it was based on some Mediterranean recipe, but I'm pretty sure no Mediterranean grandma would approve. The infamous cinnamon cardamom stuffing, she wanted it to be warm and aromatic, but it ended up tasting like a holiday candle.
Holiday candles are warm and aromatic, I suppose.
But, like, potpourri doesn't taste good.
No.
Okay, on to the first update. All right, well, things have escalated fast. Thanks to everyone who offered advice, I tried to compromise, but it's already turning into a whole thing, and Thanksgiving is still a few weeks away. After our last conversation, my sister was being pretty cagey about what she was planning to make, so I reached out to my mom hoping she could help smooth things over. Instead, she got defensive, saying I'm overthinking and that it's just one dish. I told her I wasn't sure it was just one dish anymore, especially after hearing about my sister's grocery haul, including canned oysters and edible glitter.
Oh, she's gonna turn up with shiny oysters?
Then my mom let slip that my sister had been hard at work on some creative menu she's planning as her Thanksgiving surprise. Apparently, she's been telling the family group chat, which I wasn't included in, by the way.
Okay. Sorry, your family has a group chat without you?
Yeah, that the sister started. And she's telling people in it that I'm being controlling and that she wants to expand everyone's palate with something truly unique.
Okay.
That would have me concerned, especially with her past food debacles. I would be very concerned about this group chat.
A little bit.
To top it off, my cousin sent me a screenshot from the group chat where my sister said she's bringing not one, but 3 dishes to Thanksgiving now. She's calling them her Thanksgiving Trio Experience, complete with their own place settings and little menu cards she's designing.
Okay, it does kind of sound like you politely telling her not to bring a dish has backfired spectacularly.
Oh, it has. Now she's bringing 3 and it's a whole experience.
Now she's cooking with spite.
I'm officially panicking because I have no idea what she's planning to serve, and from what I've heard, it's not remotely traditional. Yeah, oysters don't go at Thanksgiving.
You still don't have to eat the damn food.
At this point, half the family thinks I'm overreacting, while the other half is texting me with things like, is she really bringing glittered sweet potatoes? I feel stuck. If I try to control it anymore, I'm the bad guy, but if I don't, Thanksgiving might turn into a tasting event for my sister's avant-garde cooking. So yeah, Thanksgiving is weeks away and it's already becoming a family spectacle. I don't know whether to brace myself or just preemptively order pizza.
Can I just add in, it sounds like your family drama is so goddamn tame. Oh no, your sister brought bad food to Thanksgiving. Sometimes at Thanksgiving, I have to worry if a cousin is going to throw a punch at another cousin. Like,
yeah, that's true.
What? Your Thanksgiving is so tame.
Second update. All right, so Thanksgiving is now just a little over 2 weeks away, and somehow things have escalated even further than I thought possible. I thought maybe my sister's Thanksgiving trio experience would be the peak of drama. Well, turns out I was wrong. Since the last update, my sister has become fully committed to making her dishes the main attraction. She's been dropping hints in the family group chat, which I'm still not included in, but shout out to my cousin for the screenshots, about how this Thanksgiving will be one to remember and calling it her Thanksgiving debut. She's apparently been referring to herself as the Thanksgiving head chef and has hinted that she's bringing some kind of culinary surprise centerpiece that will transform the whole experience.
Why have none of the other members of this group chat added you to it? Is there something there? Like, if it's just a text thread, I'm pretty sure anyone can add someone to a text thread.
And then sister would delete you from it.
But then she has to be more open with her drama, I suppose.
From what I can piece together, she's planning a main statement dish in addition to her original 3 side dishes. I'm picturing something equally bizarre but on a much larger scale, and honestly, I'm terrified. If her green bean casserole was already pushing it, I can't even imagine what she thinks is worthy of being the centerpiece. Then, to make things even weirder, my mom texted me privately and suggested that I step back this year and let my sister shine, since she's so excited about her contributions. My mother thinks if we just give her this moment, it'll make her happy and she'll get it out of her system. She even hinted that maybe I should focus on decorations and drinks instead of the main dishes, which feels like an attempt to turn hosting over to my sister without actually saying it.
I'm sorry, is OP also a bad cook?
Yeah, that's making me wonder, but I was like, if she's not and she's a decent cook, she needs to have backup food for all these people.
Right? Like, having some bad food on the table next to the good food is one thing. As the host, having no good food anywhere, it means that you failed.
That is a disaster.
Yeah.
At this point, though, I might be like, dude, sister, if you want to host so much, you host this year and like let her have it at her place and it all be on her.
It does kind of sound like OP refuses to let sister fail.
Yes. She wants everyone to have a nice time, and she knows they won't if all they have is sister's food.
Right.
So now I'm left with a choice. Go along with my mom's plan and let my sister essentially hijack Thanksgiving, or keep pushing back and risk a family showdown. I just wanted a nice Thanksgiving with dishes everyone would enjoy, but it seems like I'm either about to hand over the whole meal to her or prepare for some serious drama. Thanksgiving isn't even here yet, and it already feels like a circus. I'm half tempted to just sit back and see what chaos unfolds, but part of me is still worried about subjecting the whole family to whatever artistic statement she has planned.
I mean, your family's having a whole ass group chat without you.
Yeah, let them sort it out.
Yeah, let them eat that food.
Yeah, if they don't want to like shut your sister down and be like, no, we want traditional Thanksgiving food, then they can eat the artistic statement food that she's preparing.
Yeah, just buy yourself like a microwave turkey dinner.
Yes.
And sit there and eat it while they all have a plate of your sister's food. That can be your statement as the host. Just immaculately decorate the house, everything beautiful, and then that food on the table.
Reddit commenters think that she should just let her sister do it and not cook a damn thing and just eat before she shows up.
It kind of sounds like you'll at least get a story out of it that will last for years, right?
Okay, this is getting long, so I'm just going to skim over the next update. But she's decided to let her sister bring her food, but she's going to have backup food just in case it is all terrible. My cousin texted me privately asking if I had backup food ready, and my dad casually mentioned bringing extra rolls just in case. So the rest of the family is nervous, but they're going to let her do it.
Is it weird that I feel like if you pull out backup food after my food failed, it's far more insulting than just not having anything and letting me fail?
Yes.
It's like,
I knew you were going to fail, as I had no faith in you, so I had backup stuff prepared.
Yeah.
It is, like, really insulting.
Yeah, you pull a whole damn turkey out of the fridge and be like, well, I just made this just in case. Like, ouch.
All right, the final update. Thanksgiving dinner is officially over, and I genuinely don't know where to start. I feel like I just lived through a fever dream of culinary chaos and family drama, and I need a moment to breathe before I can even process everything. So my sister showed up earlier than expected, which I should have seen coming. She came in like a storm, carrying not just her 3 dishes, but also this giant platter wrapped in foil, which she was clearly trying to make a big deal about. She immediately started rearranging the table, moving my dishes to the side so hers could take center stage. She even brought her own table runner and candles, saying something about setting the mood for a creative dining experience. I decided not to fight her on it because at this point, I just wanted to get through the night without a blow up. Her trio experience was, well, let's just say it was everything I feared and more. She started with a glittery sweet potato mash that somehow managed to taste like a mixture of sugar and sand. The glitter wasn't even edible glitter. It was craft glitter, which I didn't realize until one of the kids said, "This tastes crunchy," and I looked closer.
I'm sorry, she just used regular ass glitter, like pieces of plastic?
Yes. Throw that in the sweet potato mash and call it a day.
I can't even imagine wanting to make my sweet potatoes glittery. What is the benefit of the sweet potatoes glittering?
They're beautiful.
I just don't understand her vision, I guess.
Of course you don't. You are not an artiste. Then there was the cranberry and oyster relish. Yes, oysters and cranberries. It looked like someone had spilled jam into clam chowder, and the smell alone was enough to make me lose my appetite. Finally, she brought a pumpkin curry casserole that had raisins in it for some reason, and this weird fishy smell that clung to the air for way too long.
Oh, okay, it does kind of sound like she's gone downhill since last year. Like, cranberry jalapeno had potential. Cranberry oyster had zero potential.
But the piece de resistance was her surprise centerpiece dish, which turned out to be a turkey gelatin mold. Yes, she took ground turkey, mixed it with some kind of broth and seasonings, and turned it into a wobbly, translucent mold shaped like a turkey.
What? She made a gelatin mold with ground meat in it?
Yes, and broth and seasonings.
Oh, I don't like that. So it's not even a hot main dish?
I feel like meat should never go in a Jell-O mold.
I feel like I've heard of people doing it before, and I've never heard good reviews.
I do believe it was a thing in like the 60s or 70s.
Maybe with like a ham or something that's served more cold. I don't like the idea of it. I think at a Thanksgiving dinner, I would like hot turkey.
She even garnished it with parsley and cherry tomatoes to make it festive. I wish I were kidding. The entire table went silent when she unveiled it, except for my cousin, who immediately started coughing to cover up what I'm pretty sure was a laugh.
I don't even know what to say about this, Kristie. This is a disaster.
Things hit their peak when my mom, who has been defending her this entire time, took one bite of the gelatin mold and just froze. She didn't say anything, but you could see the regret on her face.
Oh, Mom doesn't get any backup food. This is Mom's fault.
Yeah, Mom said let her have her moment. Let her have her moment.
Yeah, Dad wanted to bring extra dinner rolls. Dad knew what was going to happen. Dad just didn't want to fight with Mom.
My sister, noticing the lack of enthusiasm, decided to go on this long speech about how Thanksgiving food is too boring and how she's trying to challenge our palates. She even called my ham and mashed potatoes uninspired, which was rich coming from someone serving glitter sand potatoes.
It does sound like Sister is challenging your palate.
Not in a good way, though. The breaking point came when my aunt, who's usually the peacekeeper, tried the gelatin mold and actually gagged. She tried to be polite about it, but my sister saw her reaction and completely lost it. She started yelling about how nobody in the family supports her and how we're all stuck in the past with our unoriginal food. She even accused me of sabotaging her dishes by not hyping them up enough to everyone.
Oh, I would love to hype these dishes up to the family. Be like, oh yeah, try the gelatin mold.
You gotta try it.
You gotta try it.
It is an experience. You gotta try it.
You will never forget this experience.
I do think it was very brave of the aunt to try a bite after everyone saw the regret on Mom's face after she tried it.
After her family encouraged her this much, I would be mad if they didn't try a bite. I would personally spoon a piece of this gelatin mold into everyone's mouths if I had to. I will pin people down.
No, you wanted this experience. Enjoy it.
Yeah.
At this point, half the table was trying not to laugh, and the other half was just staring at their plates, probably wondering how we got here. My sister ended up storming out of the house, but not before saying something along the lines of, "You'll regret not appreciating my vision when I'm famous." She left most of her food behind, which my cousin and I quietly threw out after dinner. The rest of the night actually turned out pretty nice once the tension was gone. My dad's emergency ham was a lifesaver, and everyone agreed that next year we're either going to a restaurant or just skipping Thanksgiving altogether.
Did your sister really give like a villain origin speech as she stormed out of the room?
Yes, she's so dramatic.
This is one of those stories, like, sometimes I watch those reality TV shows about bad chefs, and I'm like, they gotta be playing it up for TV. But you just consistently hear stories like this that I really do start to believe that some people just try to cook something weird and then don't taste test at all in the process.
Okay, someone comments, did she chow down herself? I don't understand how it could be this bad without having malfunctioning taste buds.
I didn't even think about that. What did Sister's plate look like?
OP responds, oh, she absolutely did. She was proudly serving herself generous portions of everything she made and going on about how much she loves bold flavors. Watching her genuinely enjoy the turkey gelatin mold while the rest of us were struggling to keep a straight face was something else. At this point, I'm starting to think her taste buds really are on another planet.
Yeah, does she have some sort of, like, damage to her tongue where she can't taste mild flavors?
And that's why she thinks Thanksgiving food is so boring?
Yeah, everything needs to be spicy because she can't taste anything else.
I'm so glad both of our families just stick to regular turkey for Thanksgiving.
Yeah, me too. I don't really think it's the time for experimentation.
Oh, I do like this comment. Well, your mother and aunt got karma for enabling this. They literally got to eat their words.
Yeah, sounds like they got to eat a little more than their words even.
Hey, if you're enjoying the stories so far, go ahead and hit that subscribe button for us.
We really appreciate your support, and it lets us know that we should keep making fun videos for you. Am I the asshole for not prioritizing my girlfriend's tradition during Thanksgiving?
What is her tradition? I'm kind of concerned about that. What is it?
My girlfriend, 25 female, and I, 26 male, visited my parents for Thanksgiving, staying from Wednesday to Sunday. A couple of weeks ago, she told me she likes to get Chinese food on Black Friday because her family used to do that, and it's a tradition she doesn't get to do anymore. Initially, I dismissed it, saying we should eat leftovers since my mom likes us to stick around and eat with everyone. I also didn't want to leave others out, but she convinced me it was important, so I told my mom on Wednesday night that we wanted to go out on Friday. My mom was visibly upset. I looked to my girlfriend and asked if we could move it to Sunday instead. She agreed.
Okay, I do kind of feel like they're celebrating Thanksgiving with his family. They should stick with his traditions with his family. And their tradition is to eat leftovers the day after Thanksgiving. I feel like just abandoning the rest of the family and going out yourself and getting Chinese food is a little bit rude.
It could be if the family gathering goes that long. But also, how many days does your family get for the tradition and she doesn't get any?
That's a good point, too. Compromise. Compromise is important, which I guess is why he asked if they could push it back to Sunday. So they're still doing it, just not on the day that she wanted to.
Fast forward to Friday around 4:30 p.m., and she told me she was upset that I didn't care about her feelings. I was confused because I thought we had resolved it by moving it to Sunday. She said she still wanted to go out on Friday, so I said, let's go. But then she said she didn't want to go anymore because she had eaten a big breakfast. I suggested we get takeout later, but she said it was fine and we didn't go.
Okay, she's being very indecisive and just make up her mind.
Oh, I don't think she's being decisive. She has decided on her course of action at this point. And that course is being mad at him for not wanting to go out on Black Friday.
Yeah, but then he's like, okay, well, if it's so important to you, let's go. And she's like, no. Now she's just pouting.
Later in the car, she had a mature conversation with me about needing to learn how to let things go, and I thought that was the end of it. However, this morning, Sunday, she brought it up again and said she was still upset that I dismissed her feelings. She also revealed that this tradition is tied to her late grandfather, who passed away 3 years ago, and that's why it's so meaningful. She said she thought we were making fun of her for wanting Chinese food, which we weren't. I told her I wish she'd said something earlier because we absolutely would have gone if I'd known how important this was to her.
Yeah, this is just bad communication on her part. She did not communicate the reasons behind this or why it was important or that it was important to her. And her boyfriend was just like, hey, my mom wants us to stick around for dinner on Friday. And she was like, okay. Didn't put up a fight or tell him, that it bothered her until it was too late.
Although I will say, they had a mature conversation about needing to let things go. That's him telling her she needs to let things go, right?
Oh, I don't know. I took that as her being like, hey, I know I hold on to things too long and that's something I need to fix and I'm working on it.
Oh, that could be it. Because
if it's him saying, hey, you hold on to things too long and you need to let things go, that's not cool.
No, sorry. I think your way is probably correct. I thought he worded it weird because he said she had a mature conversation with me about needing to learn to let things go. And I'm like, he's not holding on to anything. So is he just wording it weird that he told her she needs to let things go? But it could be self-reflection. You are correct.
I thought it was self-reflection. And she's like, I need to learn to let things go. But then she didn't let things go and brought it up on the next day and was like, hey, I'm still mad.
She says she's not mad at me now, but I still feel like she is. She also said I should have read between the lines. I feel like I tried to make it work on Friday and genuinely thought we had a plan for Sunday. Did I mess this up? Am I the asshole?
Okay, well, you messed it up because your girlfriend is mad at you. However, I'm not sure there's a way you could have unmessed it up because she was just determined to be mad at you after you initially were like, hey, let's move it to Sunday. She said, okay, but was secretly mad at you and wanted you to fix it without talking to you about it.
And to be fair, you did put her on the spot a little bit by saying it at your family's house already. Can we move this? She thought you were going out on Friday, and then your mom made a kind of pouty face, and you immediately decided, no, we're not going out on Friday.
That is a good point. He was definitely putting his mom's feelings above his girlfriend's, which I'm usually like, about. I just feel like she communicated so poorly about this issue. She's just like, hey, I want to do this, and didn't tell him like, hey, it's really important to me because it's my late grandfather's tradition and I would really like to do this. It's important. She's just kind of like, hey, I want to do this. And then when he said, no, let's not, she was like, okay.
Yeah, she said it was a bit of a family tradition, but it kind of, I would interpret that as we go out on Black Friday and we usually get Chinese food while we're at the mall. That's kind of how I would interpret it until you went in with like, hey, grandpa always liked to go out on Black Friday and get Chinese food at the mall. So it's kind of how I honor my family memory. Like,
yeah, that is a big difference.
Yeah, you're right. It was all lack of communication, wasn't it? Top comment. Initially, I was going to say you weren't in the wrong, but after rereading, I have to say you're the asshole. First off, you initially dismissed her tradition, expecting her to completely abide by your family's traditions and schedules. You just don't get to do that. She's a human being with an actual past, not some prop that was created just to fulfill a role in your life. Then, when you guys did come to a compromise, you let your mom emotionally manipulate you into doing what she wanted, and disregarded what your girlfriend wanted yet again. A lot of people are saying that he eventually agreed to go, but that was after he initially completely dismissed it, his words, and she had to explain to him that it was important to her. He then put her in a situation where she basically had to acquiesce to his mom by putting her on the spot. And when she later tried to explain that she felt unheard and wanted to have a conversation about that, that's when he agreed to go again. Every time he acknowledged her feelings, she had to get upset first. That's not how a healthy relationship works. She shouldn't have to get emotional to be heard.
Those are all good points, but I feel like when he finally was like, okay, I hear you, let's go. And then she was like, no, I don't want to. I'm full from breakfast. That's where she lost me.
That was a little pouty, I gotta admit.
Yeah.
And then there was a quick one-sentence update.
Okay.
Thanks for the feedback. I apologize to my girlfriend and we're okay.
Okay, that's nice. But are they okay, or is she still secretly mad? Because they kept being like, she's like, it's okay. And then she'd be like, I'm still mad at you.
It's very hard to say. It does sound like OP might be bad at reading subtext.
I think he is, yeah. And I'm concerned that she is still mad at him.
Yeah, he's bad at reading subtext, and she's good at holding a grudge.
Yes. Okay, this one's from Petty Revenge, and it's titled Just Desserts.
Okay, sounds good.
For over 20 years, I've hosted holidays at my place. My sister and her family moved out of state, but are close enough to come back for each holiday. Sounds great, right? Well, not so much. Sister and her family always go to her in-laws' place for the big meal, and since her mother-in-law is not a great cook, they just pick at the food and then invade my place for leftovers, aka the entire meal afterwards.
Sounds like your sister's good at strategy.
Now, you're probably thinking, what's the big deal, right? Well, the big deal is that it's gotten to the point my recipe for mashed potatoes starts with a 10-pound bag of potatoes, the turkey barely fits in the oven, the sides take up the entire counter, and I use an entire quart of cream just for desserts. It's a huge undertaking, and not only does sister not contribute financially, she never even has the decency to let me know whether they are coming or when.
I mean, you definitely know whether she's coming. It sounds like yes.
Yeah, I want to know, has she ever not come and then you're stuck with all this food left over? No, I think it sounds like she just comes every year, but she's like, oh no, we're eating at mother-in-law's, and then just shows up and devours all your food though.
Yeah, It sounds like she shows up possibly with a few teenagers that eat all of your food.
And I do get it's kind of annoying not knowing when they're going to show up to devour all your food.
I guess so, but I have been to plenty of family gatherings where it's just like, turn up when you can for Thanksgiving. It's just on the table. You might have to reheat it in the microwave.
Yeah, me too. This year I texted the family that my kids were going to make the meal for just us, and if anyone wanted to join us afterwards, I'd have dessert and only dessert to share. As usual, I got a text from everyone else, but nothing from sister. Rather than trying to chase her down, I assumed she had gotten the message and went on with my plans. The time comes and the kids put on a lovely meal. We eat and enjoy ourselves and then pack up the leftovers. A few families showed up over the next hour and we chatted happily. Then it happens. The car's pulling into the driveway. Sister's family has arrived. They invade in usual style, going around and giving quick hugs before heading for the kitchen. It took less than 30 seconds before she's out, trying to be polite since there are still others there, to ask where the food is.
It does kind of sound like OP is holding one hell of a grudge over people eating her food at Thanksgiving. Does she just really like Thanksgiving leftovers and she doesn't get enough?
She's just mad that sister doesn't contribute at all to the Thanksgiving meal, just shows up and eats and leaves.
And is not grateful about it? Yeah.
I asked, aren't the pies on the counter? The bread pudding is in the crock pot. The sauce is on the stove. She asked, yes, but where's the food? At this point, the others are starting to catch on to what's up and trading glances. Me. I told everyone that we were only doing dessert. Did you not get the message? Her. You know we can't actually eat at mother-in-law's house. We were counting on eating here before we drive back.
So she doesn't read text messages.
Or she read it, did not want to accept that, was still hoping she could guilt you into feeding her if she just showed up hungry.
Yeah, that's not the reality that I accept. There will be turkey when I arrive.
Me. Well, I think there should be fast food open somewhere between here and your place. Her adult kids were trickling out of the kitchen at this point, looking around as if turkey dinner was going to magically appear out of thin air, and everyone else is practically holding their breath waiting to see what happens. She spewed some not nice comments about how they were probably not going to find anything open and it was my fault they were going hungry. Told the kids to grab something to eat in the cars and stomped out. I don't know who lost their composure first, but I think it was my uncle who cracked and started laughing. Once we calmed back down, the rest of us had quite the nice evening enjoying just desserts. There's an update, but comments first.
I mean, it does sound like you got your petty revenge. There's no reason sister couldn't be bringing food to either of these gatherings. I know you gotta drive a bit, but you can bring a dish that can be reheated to mother-in-laws and to sisters. Mother-in-law's a bad cook? You could offer to take over cooking. Say, hey, I just wanted to help out, so I brought a couple dishes.
Yeah, like why is she leaving all the food to everyone else? She's not doing anything for Thanksgiving, just showing up and eating at places.
And I know you gotta spend on gas to drive from another state or wherever. I can understand that you would bring less food. Like, your contribution to Thanksgiving is your gas to a certain extent, but it's not a big deal to bring a dish, too. Throw it in a cooler.
Also, I just cannot imagine traveling anywhere without, like, a crap ton of snacks.
That's true, too.
You gotta have car snacks.
Although it sounds like she wants something more substantial than snacks, or she would have been happy with pie. Because I can totally get behind going to a family member's house just to visit and eat pie.
Yeah, that sounds perfect. How much pie am I allowed, though?
I mean, it's a family gathering. Is anyone really going to police your pie consumption?
Well, if there's not enough pie for everyone, because I could eat a whole pie.
She said there was lots of dessert on the counter, so I have to assume there was more than enough pie for the invaders as well.
Top comment, if she's going to treat you like a food stop before heading home, maybe you should start meeting her at the door and asking for payment before she gets the food like a fast food joint would. Okay, now on to Just Desserts, the Christmas update.
Oh, there's a Christmas update.
25 days later. My kids got words from their cousin that there was quite the blow up from my sister on their way home. Bad enough that all the kids ended up in one car so they didn't have to listen to her. I am of course devastated, okay, not really, by her reaction.
So the kids that were probably also on this text thread saw the blow up coming and decided they were all going to carpool and let mom and dad drive separate.
Yes, because it sounds like most of the kids are adults. There's one that's still a teenager, but the other ones are all adults.
Probably couldn't even all fit in the same car. So yeah, so they do 2 cars now.
Yeah. My text for the Christmas desserts drop-in read something like this. It was so great seeing all of you that dropped in for desserts on Thanksgiving. If you couldn't make it, know that you were missed. It worked out so well that we would like to invite all of you to drop by for desserts on Christmas Day as well. We will start at 2 p.m. on Christmas Day. Drop in as you can. Everyone is invited for caroling and cocoa on Christmas Eve as well. We will be leaving at 6 p.m. and it should only be about 2 hours. If you are going to attend either or both, please let me know which and how many people to plan for by the 15th. Love you all.
I can just feel the petty in every word of that.
Most of the families texted back right away. I didn't get a text from sister. Shocking, I know. What I did get was a phone call on the 19th and one on the 23rd to let me know that it isn't worth the extra drive time just for desserts. Keep in mind the extra drive time is 15 minutes or so each way.
That's a really hurtful text. Like, I can drive and visit mother-in-law for bad food, but I can't drive over and visit you for no food? Or desserts even? Desserts are good.
I'd almost prefer to have desserts to a meal because I just have such a sweet tooth.
I think it's super nice that you get to go visit your sister and she's got some sugar cookies on the table.
Yeah, and isn't visiting with the family the whole purpose of the trip, not just food?
Yeah, you'd think so. It's not that hard to turn up with food for yourself at the very least, right?
Mm-hmm. She continues, obviously, this was an attempt to wrangle a meal invite. I'm quite proud of myself for just saying that I was going to miss her family and hoped they had a Merry Christmas anyways. This summer, I had spent a fair amount of time thinking I wanted to make myself a throw blanket like the one I was making for sister for Christmas. After the call on the 19th, I took that lovely blanket out of the gifts and replaced it with a book of holiday recipes. Since I was feeling extra petty, instead of making a nice book, laminated with illustrated pages and properly bound, I instead printed out the pages on plain paper, stapled them together. I mailed it Christmas Eve, so she should be getting it in the mail in a few days.
My God, OP, I'm glad you're getting your petty revenge. I'm very happy for you. You are burning this bridge so thoroughly.
She's sick of being used by her sister for her cooking and food.
Right?
If you're only here for the food, don't come at all.
Apparently.
Sister's adult kids, on the other hand, had decided that dealing with their mom was a pain and they would be coming by for desserts without telling her. It was rather a nice surprise to get that text on the 14th. On Christmas Day, they even managed to get their teen brother into the car before she noticed as they were leaving. Funny thing, they all got their regular Christmas presents from me under the tree when they arrived. They also got an abundance of texts from their mother having an absolute fit that they had come to my house. The funniest one was her telling them that she and their father were driving home without them, as if that was somehow a punishment. Insert eye roll of everyone present here. The kids have their own car they drove to Aunt's house in.
Yeah, right? Kids just don't want to get pulled into the sister fight.
But they want those desserts. They're still going to Aunt's to see their cousins and everything for Christmas and get those cookies.
Yeah, they still want to be members of the family, even if mom is currently fighting with Aunt.
If you're wondering what recipes I chose to include in the cookbook, it's 25 pages of just desserts. Honestly, I couldn't resist.
You two seem like the type of sisters that will just let this fight last until you're both dead. Both of you. It won't just be until one of you's dead. You both have to be in the ground because the other one is still going to be keeping the fight up while, and just telling bad stories about the other.
Absolutely.
I drove all the way over to OP's house and she only had desserts. Can you believe that?
A whole 15 minutes there and 15 minutes back, and all I got was some cookies.
Well, no, 15 minutes there and then 10 hours back because they drive home.
Oh, yeah. But she had to drive the 10 hours home in any case because she was at the in-laws' house.
Yeah, but she likes the in-laws.
Even though they don't have good food, why does she only like her sister if her sister can provide good food?
I feel like OP needs to connect with that sister that does creative Thanksgiving.
Ooh, yeah.
Have her cater, because she stormed off to make it big, so that you can be her first catering gig.
Yeah, because she said she's going to be famous someday, yeah.
Oh my God, did we just stumble upon an amazing business idea? Bad Thanksgiving food that you can serve to your family as revenge.
Not a bad idea.
It's not. I bet you can make up a bunch of Jell-O turkeys beforehand.
Yeah, I bet those would store for quite a while.
Probably.
Top comment, yikes, even OP's sister's kids were like, nope, not dealing with mom. All the kids piling into one car so they didn't have to hear their mom complain is a whole ass vibe. Someone else wonders, do the in-laws purposefully make a bad dinner to get them to leave quickly? Once they're gone, the real food appears.
Oh my God.
That's diabolical. Do the in-laws hate them that much?
Yeah, their goal is just to send sister-in-law and the kids off. They want to have their own peaceful Thanksgiving and Christmas.
Because apparently sister is all about the drama.
What kind of complaints are in-laws having to endure while she's over there?
Yeah, because she's ranting on about her sisters, which is why all the kids escaped.
Oh, I wasn't even just talking about that. I was just talking about the bad food.
Oh, that's a good point.
Is she silent over there about the bad food? Because it sounds like she's not silent about the lack of food at your house. She just drives from another state to complain at everybody, it sounds like.
Yeah, sister is sounding a little bit like a nightmare of a guest.
Am I the asshole for expecting not to have to pay for Thanksgiving groceries?
Yes. I feel like if you're having Thanksgiving dinner, everybody should contribute to the groceries. Is fair.
I, 54 female, have been invited by a friend, 50 female, who I will call Anne, to come to her house for Thanksgiving. We all live in Italy, but spent many years in the USA and have several American friends in the area. Anne heard that I make a traditional Thanksgiving dinner at my house every year for my family and a couple friends, 6 people total. It is quite difficult to get all the supplies here, no buying canned pumpkin or cranberry sauce. So I make every single thing from scratch. Over the years, I've also acquired all the dishes and tools and spices, no suppliers for the more exotic things, and am an all-around good cook. I can't imagine not being able to acquire canned pumpkin.
Yeah, that's weird. But I guess they must sell pumpkin, like pie pumpkins.
Yeah, it sounds like she can get the pie pumpkin and make the pie from scratch.
Make her own pumpkin puree from scratch and put it in a pie. I've only done that once.
It's such a pain in the ass.
It is. I did it once and then I'm like, I am all about buying that canned pumpkin. It doesn't taste that much different.
It doesn't. I don't think the extra flavor profile is worth the effort at all. So Anne, who was born in China but lived in the USA for 20 plus years, asked if I would come to her beautiful and much bigger home and teach her how to make the whole dinner for a group of 12 people instead of the usual 6. So it's twice as big as her normal dinner.
Okay.
I am assuming Anne did not word the question like that. Would you please come to my beautiful and much bigger home?
That would be rude. But I'm also wondering, how did she live in the USA for 20 years and not learn how to make at least some of the Thanksgiving dinner?
I don't know. I mean, some people are born in the USA and can't cook a Thanksgiving dinner.
Okay.
I was hesitant at first because we live a very modest lifestyle, and Anne and her British husband are very well off. But I figured it would still be fun, and I would enjoy putting on the feast for new people and in a beautiful kitchen.
I don't know why them being rich is making you nervous about cooking this meal for them.
It does sound like OP is very hung up on the fact that their house is beautiful and that they are well off.
Yeah, she does seem very focused on that, like it's a big deal to her, and that's kind of weird.
After I agreed, the problems began. First, Anne wanted to have the dinner on a day that isn't Thanksgiving to make it more convenient. I decided it wasn't all that important since we live in Italy, so it is scheduled for the Sunday prior to the actual day. Then, when we were planning to meet to go shopping for all of the ingredients, she asked if I could do all the shopping and she would reimburse me for her half.
It sounds like she's just wanting you to cater her Thanksgiving meal, and you were planning this as a joint effort kind of thing.
It does kind of sound like that. Like you thought it was going to be like cooking together and you teaching her, and she thinks you're going to turn up with all the ingredients already bought, which is most of the work.
Not most of the work, but a good chunk of it.
I asked what she meant, and she said that I'd be paying for half of everything. So not only would I be doing all the shopping, all the planning, all the cooking and teaching her as well, but now I'm expected to pay for the food.
I'm so confused. Is this, instead of OP's usual Thanksgiving dinner with her family, it is now a joint Thanksgiving dinner with her family and Anne's family?
No, I think it's in addition to the Thanksgiving she's having with her 6-person family. Anne wants her to come over and teach her how to make a 12-person dinner for a different group.
So why does she have to pay for half of it for these people who are not her guests?
I think in Anne's mind, they are hosting together.
This does not make any sense to me.
Yeah.
Why would you be expected to teach Anne how to cook for her party and also pay for half of the ingredients for Anne's party?
Yeah, that's the confusing bit. Like, I think 2 of the 12 are obviously OP and her husband. And then there's Anne and her husband, plus 8 of their friends. So this does seem more Anne's party than yours.
Which makes me think this is Anne's party. OP should not have to contribute financially because they are already contributing by teaching Anne how to cook.
And with a lot of labor.
Yeah.
Because when you teach someone to cook, you're doing more work than usual, right?
Yes, you are doing all the cooking and on top of that teaching someone at the same time.
Right. You're doing all the cooking and then you're running over to the other side of the kitchen to correct whatever they're currently doing.
Like cooking a meal by yourself, but hard.
I told her I could not do this. We really don't have the budget. So now she's trying to alter the menu she agreed to. Turkey and fixings, candied yams, roasted veggies, an appetizer, and pie. Really a modest dinner by American standards.
If she's so well off, why can't she afford to pay for this meal for herself? Suddenly you're not contributing and she's downgrading the meal? I'm confused. Is she well off or not?
I don't know if that's a modest dinner by American standards either.
The only thing missing is mashed potatoes and rolls.
Yeah, I would call that like a standard Thanksgiving dinner for 6 to 12 people.
Yeah, I feel like maybe they replaced the mashed potatoes with yams. We never have yams in my family's Thanksgiving, but...
I'm just not a big yam guy, but I know that some people do candied yams for Thanksgiving. She then made a comment that her friends don't eat like pigs.
Oh, like us Americans do.
She then went to another guest with my recipes and asked her to prepare my pumpkin pie, so she didn't have to buy the ingredients.
Why is she trying so hard to get out of paying for all these ingredients? Why is she hosting if she can't afford it?
Maybe this is why she's so well off. She gets other people to pay for things. I don't need to pay. I have somebody for that. My entire friend group. Bear in mind, Anne and her husband are very wealthy. I'd estimate the whole dinner for 12 might cost €200 for the ingredients, and my labor Anne gets for free.
Yeah, honestly, that's a pretty good price for a Thanksgiving dinner for 12.
Yeah, I mean, that means everyone's eating for less than $20. And this post is only a year old, so the inflation hasn't been that extreme.
Yeah.
Because we're obviously not reading this year's Thanksgiving stories.
Yeah, it haven't happened yet.
She thinks I'm being stubborn and ungenerous. My family thinks Anne is taking advantage of my kindness, and her miserly ways are ridiculous, since she'd spend double that amount for lunch out on a whim. So, am I the asshole for refusing to contribute to the meal or be bullied into this nonsense? My family wants me to just bow out and tell her I'm not comfortable with her attitude. I'm tempted because this feels toxic and manipulative.
Yeah, I agree with your family. Bow out and be like, dude, this just isn't going to work out for me.
I mean, sounds like you went into this with different expectations as to what was happening.
I just cannot fathom asking someone to pay for half of my dinner party that I'm throwing.
Yeah, unless you were going to merge the two events, which it sounds like you weren't doing. I can't imagine asking to someone to chip in to that extent, especially with how much labor she's providing. I mean, and Anne is very wealthy.
Yes, very wealthy.
She can afford this because they're so wealthy and they have such a beautiful house.
Sounds like she wants you to cater her event and pay for it yourself. Why wouldn't you do that? You're her friend, right? This sounds like a really toxic friendship, and I might just dump Anne.
It does. It also sounds like OP needs to be a little more happy with herself.
Oh yeah, OP sounds extremely jealous of Anne and her well-off husband and her very nice, bigger than hers house.
And meanwhile, Anne is very jealous that you can cook a whole Thanksgiving dinner. You just sound like you're jealous of each other.
I'm still offended about the eat like pigs comment. You're supposed to eat like a pig on Thanksgiving, though. That's the whole point of Thanksgiving. American tradition.
That's like the one day a year where you're allowed to kind of feast. It's a feast. That's the whole point of it, is that you eat, you have family, and you celebrate.
And you eat until you can't stay awake anymore.
Yeah, and then the aunts and uncles usually nap, and the young people make fun of them.
Yep, that's how it goes in our family.
Top comment, not the asshole. Sounds like she just wants you to pay and make the meal for her and her friends. She is most definitely taking advantage of your kindness and probably just wants you to cook for her. I wouldn't make the meal or pay for it if I were you. OP replied to that, I absolutely won't be paying for a single thing. I don't expect to be paid for my time as my family will be there too, 4 of us in total. So I was willing to make the meal, but I'm expected to pay for the privilege of planning and cooking a meal for 12? That seems ridiculous to me. My family is aghast at the nerve of her asking me to buy half the ingredients, to be honest. I just wanted outside opinions on if I'm being an asshole since we'd be there eating the meal too.
Okay, but 4 of you out of 12, that's still only 1/3 of the grocery cost.
Yeah, I guess I didn't realize she was bringing 4 people. It does make me wonder, like, how many of the Anne's friends are also your friends? Like, was this
supposed to be a co-hosting thing?
Yeah, in Anne's mind, was this just like, I've got a nice big space, you've got the skill, let's come together and make something cool? Did you just not communicate good enough at the start? Because I didn't realize you were bringing 1/3 of the guests from your family.
Yeah, I thought it was just her and her husband, which is 1/6 of the guest.
Mm-hmm.
And that's more of like just a courtesy since you are helping cook the meal.
But Anne is also, she has to clean up and clean the house beforehand. Maybe she pays someone for that. She's very wealthy. But there is a bit of teamwork at this. And it does. I have to wonder if there's a but Anne just didn't communicate with you properly at the start.
Yeah, I feel like maybe Anne thinks that you are co-hosting a Thanksgiving meal together, so you should both contribute equally half and half, and just did not communicate this to you. But if this is her Thanksgiving party and she just wants you to help her cook it, and she still expects you to pay for half of it, that's just some audacity.
Yeah, like, does Anne maybe think that you're just not going to do your Thanksgiving because your whole family's at her house for the Thanksgiving?
I don't know. I feel like now I need more information.
It does sound like there is some sort of lack of communication between the two. I have to assume that Anne just can't hear OP when she speaks because there's too much money stuffed into her ear.
She is very wealthy and well off.
Okay, so somebody did ask OP a similar question about the guest list.
Mm-hmm.
Not the asshole. I can see how it would be fair to pay for half the groceries since you do 6 people and this would be 12 if you were joint hosting. This does not sound like joint hosting. It sounds like Anne wants to get all the accolades while you do all the work. She wants you to teach her how to make the food. How much do you bet she'll ask you to show her and she'll just observe the process? And of the 12 guests that Anne wants, are 6 of them all the people you usually have, or are more of them people she wants? If I were in this position, I'd cancel on Anne and go back to doing your own dinner. OP replied to that. 4 of the guests are me and my family, the rest are guests of Anne. Although I know a couple of them and we are friends. They only said yes to the invite because they wanted to enjoy my Thanksgiving dinner, which they'd heard rumors of. They both despise Anne, but like her husband. So my cooking made it worth putting up with her.
Wow, they despise Anne.
A lot of people have opinions about Anne. So doesn't it mean that those are your friends, though?
Yeah, those 2 people who despise Anne are your friends, not Anne's friends. So it sounds like it's 4 members of your family and 2 of your friends, and then 6 of Anne's family and friends.
That makes it half.
It's co-hosting.
I'm so confused by this. And people have heard rumors of your legendary Thanksgiving dinner, the only Thanksgiving dinner prepared in all of Italy.
It's glorious. They want to experience it. They'll even put up with Anne for it.
Yeah, they'll even tolerate Anne's wealthy ass. To be honest, I'm considering just canceling the dinner and being eternally busy every time Anne asks for my time. She seems nice, but there's always an ulterior motive with her. My son says she acts like I'm her pet dancing monkey, that she wants to perform tricks whenever it's convenient.
Wow.
I'm just very skilled at a lot of things she doesn't know how to do. So he might be right. I try to be kind, but this feels manipulative. I'm sorry, the more OP talks, the less I'm sure that Anne is the asshole in this situation.
But the more I'm sure that she doesn't actually like Anne. Why are you friends with her?
Well, she has such a nice house.
She's so wealthy.
And it does sound like your friend group overlaps, but not really. Like, your friend group overlaps with her husband's. Meanwhile, Anne is just kind of there.
Yeah, I don't know.
I get that OP is mad right now, so that's part of it. But I'm just very skilled at a lot of things she doesn't know how to do. Sounds like bragging, right?
Well, it's because Anne is so wealthy, she's never had to learn how to do these things that the poor common people must know how to do, like cooking.
Not the asshole. Your mistake was sharing the recipes. This woman is not your friend. She wants you to pay for half the groceries for her dinner party in addition to cooking everything and sourcing all the ingredients. At this point, she would need to pay you the cost of a private chef to cook the dinner. OP replied, she asked for the recipes so she could compile a shopping list. To be honest, I don't give a damn if she wants to share them or try to make them herself. It sounds like you do, though, because you complained when she asked someone else to make the pumpkin pie.
I took that more as, hey, she's trying to get other people to pay for the food, too.
Oh, okay.
Not a complaint that they shared the recipe, but just a complaint that she's being so stingy with her very much money that she has that she wants other people to pay for it.
That's fair. I know some people have their own, like, from scratch pumpkin pie recipe, but there's not a lot of variation in pumpkin pie.
But why did Anne ask for the recipes to compile a shopping list when she wants you to do the shopping?
That's a good point. She asked you to do all the shopping and she'd just pay you half.
I'm so confused. Why don't you do the shopping, tell Anne double the price so that she just ends up paying for all of it without actually knowing that she is?
That's true. Wealthy people do not know how much things cost.
Yeah, you could totally get away with that.
They're my recipes. Some of them I wrote in 1986. They're hardly secret, though, and I'd share them freely. There's more to them than basic instructions, so she'll have a difficult time having them come out right without me showing her all the little tricks. Just in case anyone wants to know how to have a pumpkin pie crust come out perfect and never burn, after you bake the crust, put it in the freezer for 30 minutes after filling it and baking the pie. A semi-frozen crust will slow the edges getting brown so they don't burn. Won't that make the pie crust kind of gummy?
That is not how you make a pumpkin pie. You don't cook the crust and then fill it with pumpkin and cook it again. No, you fill it the raw crust with pumpkin and cook the whole thing.
Maybe that's why she has trouble with the edges browning too much, because she's cooking the crust first.
Yeah, you don't do that. That is weird.
That is a strange way to make a crust. Huh.
Okay, there are some pies where you cook the crust first, but those are usually ones where like the filling is not cooked, like a coconut cream pie.
Yeah. Yeah, you do raw crust with apple and everything too. You're right.
But yeah, but if it's a pie where the filling is cooked, you cook the filling in a raw crust, and the crust and the filling cook at the same time. Okay, so now I'm doubting if OP really knows how to cook a traditional American Thanksgiving dinner, because she's cooking pumpkin pie wrong.
And if you're screwing up the pumpkin pie, then you're screwing up the whole dinner.
In any case, if I was OP, I would just back out of this Thanksgiving dinner, and I would not want to deal with Anne anymore. She's being a little ridiculous.
Well, there is a small update.
Oh, okay.
I did cancel this entirely, and thank you everyone for your kind advice and encouragement. We will be having our dinner at home instead.
Sounds so much easier and less drama-filled.
Wait, I'm sorry, instead? So this was a combined event?
I don't know. I'm so confused by this.
Every time she says something, I get more confused.
And I switch back and forth, because if she's having it instead, and this was supposed to be instead of her little Thanksgiving thing.
And you do have a bit of a joint friend group.
It's a joint Thanksgiving, and if you were doing this instead of your Thanksgiving, you should be paying half for it, because it's your Thanksgiving and Anne's Thanksgiving.
Yeah, your labor doesn't count in Thanksgiving. You pay for half the ingredients if half of the group is yours. You've got your whole 4-person family, 2 people that are more your friends than Anne's, and in theory, Anne and her husband are your friends too. That's 8. Maybe you should just be paying for all the groceries. It sounds like Anne just wanted to try your Thanksgiving dinner.
I don't know.
I keep trying to end this story, but she keeps saying like these one-word weird things that make me go off again.
I need to know if this was a joint Thanksgiving party with half of the guest list being your guests that are normally at your Thanksgiving and half of the guest list being Anne's guests, in which case you should be paying half, or if this was all Anne's guests. I'm so confused.
Yeah, because this is your friend group too, it sounds like. Even if you don't know, like, 4 of the people, Anne is inviting some extra people. I don't know. The more I read, the more I think that you just need to talk to each other. Maybe nobody sucks here.
But it sounds like she did not want to pay half and do all the work for this party at Anne's house. She'd rather just pay for her own and only have the smaller party at her own house. And if that's what she wants to do, that's what she wants to do. That's totally fine.
Yeah, you're not the asshole for wanting to do your own small party, but it does sound like you agreed to do the bigger party. I don't know. I think the solution is you and Anne just suck at communication, and you need to be better at that. Beyond that, just talk better in the future. And don't double bake your pie crust. It's going to be burnt.
That is the true takeaway from this story.
Kristie's family pie crust will be pinned in the comments down below. I'm giving it away. I'm going rogue.
In our family, Pie Day, the day before Thanksgiving, is actually a more important holiday than Thanksgiving itself. My whole family gathers together and we make usually about 20 pies, and then we all have pie for dinner and it's delicious. And then we have pie again the next day for Thanksgiving.
Yeah, they're a bit obsessed with pie. So When you hear Kristie say that dessert is the only part of Thanksgiving that matters, she's being serious about that.
On Thanksgiving, you have pie for breakfast and pie for lunch, and then Thanksgiving dinner with pie for dessert.
All right, that's our last story for this episode of Josh and Kristie Stealing the Internet. Let us know what your Thanksgiving traditions are in the comments.
Hit that subscribe button and have a happy Thanksgiving.